Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. I have with us today a director, and he has an amazing short out right now that I've just got the chance to see, and it's called Cameo. I have with us today Ryan Kelly. Ryan, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. So tell us a little bit about Cameo.
So yeah, Cameo is about a graduate student who is having a bit of a tough time, and then she receives a mysterious necklace, and then things start getting really weird for her. And yeah, there's a witch cult behind it, and yeah, it's a tale of madness and anxiety and dread. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to make.
And it moves pretty quickly, too. And it was definitely fun to watch, especially when you watch the beginning. You're like, what is that? And then the more and more you get into it, you're like, okay, it's starting to make a little more sense.
I love that device in movies in general. Like, just throw people into the middle, like start a scene in the middle. Yeah, just like I love that. I think that's just a really great like storytelling technique, and I really I wanted to open the movie with a bang too. I wanted it to be something that people don't shut off, like the people stick
Yes.
with. Yeah, so.
And what's great too, it also makes you sit through the end credits as well because you get this whole news story that you listen to. So it gives you something to continue to listen to even during the credits.
I got the idea that that could be like maybe a little bit of a movie within a movie, and
Hmm.
there were definitely some things that I wanted to like, kind of like visual ideas I had that the end credits were definitely like the right vessel for that. And I was finishing it up when things were very still locked down and stuff. So yeah, it was great to like work with actors even remotely. They were able to give me some voice work, which was fun.
Now, what gave you the inspiration for Cameo?
Really, it started from wanting to do a movie about the cursed object trope. I just thought that was a great thing, and I wrote this one with my wife Emily. She produced it with me too. And almost I was like, I think a cursed object. We could really build a movie around that. And then she suggested a cameo necklace, and it's like, yeah, those things are kind of creepy.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so I think that was really evocative. And then we built out from there. We started to ask, like, who is this person? Like, what happens to her? Why? And then we got the idea that she was a graduate student. We filmed at Stevens Institute of Technology, which is down in Hoboken, where my wife got her degree, and they were really good to us. And I really liked all the stuff in the library early on. That was a great location to be in. And
Pretty awesome. Now, I have a question. There's one effect in the movie where main character is laying in bed and there is like you see a hand on the wall.
Mhm.
Tell us about how you made that effect possible.
Yeah, we just had we just bought like this latex glove. The art director found it, and it was just like a shadow on the wall. And the lead actress Sarah, she just kind of did. I mean, she was very enthusiastic about the prospect of doing shadow puppets. um, and then the effect is it's a static shot, and then just like a simple cross dissolve for when it like emerges. So that was fun. And it's definitely one of the fun things about horror filmmaking. You can definitely feel like a kid, like I'm playing shadow puppets with my friends.
Exactly. Now, your wife was in a big part of you making this movie. How it must have been pretty amazing to be able to work with your partner on a hobby or a project together.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I think she really drew on her own experiences. She went to Stevens and she got a master's degree in applied mathematics, which I can't even imagine how
And
insane that was. And I think she definitely like drew on some of her experience for those scenes. And I had a realization kind of when I was directing it. I'm just like, God, I'm like inside my wife's mind in a really intense way. I think that part of it was really like her idea of the stuff in the library. That was like certainly like a lot of it was very collaborative. But there were some things that were kind of like maybe more my idea, like the voices in the head scene. That was kind of like my baby. I wrote that and rewrote that, and I experimented with it a lot in the edit. And then I feel like the library stuff was very much her. So I definitely had a moment where I'm like, wow, I'm like recreating Emily's like experience.
Now, and there's another aspect in the movie. It's also dealing. It's a 12-minute movie, but it has a lot in that 12 minutes. I mean, you get to also see what's going on in her relationship. There's some relationship issues. I mean, there was a lot that you packed into that 12 minutes. Was that a challenge?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, just getting the most out of every scene, for sure. And but I think, I mean, emotional investment in the characters is important in every kind of film, but I think maybe doubly or triply or that much more so in horror, because if you're not invested in who this person is, like, how are you going to be scared for them? So
Exactly.
it was definitely, yeah, it was definitely a focus. Like, who is this person? Yeah, why would the audience care about her? Then Sarah, who plays the part, and I mean, it's so much her movie, in my opinion, and she makes her so just like real and relatable, I think.
And what's great too about what you were saying about horror, the character development. You also get that other aspect too when you don't like a character or you think a character is a bad person and they get what they get. You're like, yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that could definitely be like a little bit of, yeah, vicarious living, I guess.
Now, did you think about making this into a full feature, or was this always meant to be a short?
No, no, no. Yeah, I conceived of it as a proof of concept, and we do have a what I think is a very good script for the feature. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in producing it at some point. I'm working on another short, kind of in the interim, but it's certainly something I'm interested in producing. I would recommend to all filmmakers watching, do your proof of concept not the way I did it, where I was just like, oh, I'll take the short and expand it into a feature, which was extremely hard. I think a lot of times proof of concepts are the other way around.
Hmm. Yeah, because I can imagine because I mean, well, for short, you're packing you're packing a beginning, middle, and end into a short period of time. And how do you expand that into a full feature?
Yeah, it was tough, and honestly, every time I felt like we hit a wall, it was kind of going back to the short. And actually, I feel like part of the script was partially developed like when we were taking this movie to festivals, and part of what the script is doing is like answering the questions people had, which is, so I feel like, at least the way I approached the script, it felt almost like it was collaborative with like the audience for the short. In a way, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I should, people who are interested in this, maybe flesh out that element more. And so yeah, it was definitely like, yeah, developing a more concrete backstory, because the short's pretty abstract. So yeah, developing a more concrete backstory, and the main character is a sister in the feature, which helps. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, because one of the things I was questioning without giving anything away, I was questioning. I was like, was this really someone text messaging her about her boyfriend, or was this one of the spirits?
It's definitely meant to be abstract. From my perspective, it's all the necklace, for sure. Like, that was the
Yeah,
way I think we approached it creatively. But I mean, it's definitely designed to, be ambiguous, and I think that can be, ambiguity can be fun.
it can be. Now, what got you into horror filmmaking?
You know, so yeah, my journey to it was, so I went to film school, and my thesis film was a romantic comedy, and some people make very good thesis films, and I was not one of them.
Oh,
Yeah, it was not terrible, but it wasn't great, in my opinion. And then when I started making movies really on my own after film school, I started doing, my first short was like kind of a crime thriller, and then my
mhm.
next short was just a straight up thriller. And when that was on the festival circuit, I started going to festivals more and stuff. And I started when I always was having the most fun at the horror box, basically. And I'm like, I want to make a horror movie. Like, this is like the community I want to be part of. So it really started that way. I would say, like, yeah, like, this is a great community of artists and creators, and I want to work with them.
I 100% agree. I've been a horror fan ever since I was a kid, and now also in diving into and meeting filmmakers and actors and actors and creators. It's this amazing community. Now, I have interviewed some filmmakers who have said that their passion was always to get into action or comedy, romance, stuff like that. But horror was the easiest, I would say, gateway to get into making movies because it's a little more. It gives you a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? It gives you a little more room to wiggle with when it comes to making a horror movie.
I know, certainly as a director, that's definitely part of the fan, is like, I think audiences, yeah, you can definitely like break the rules, and you can definitely do some kind of out of the box things creatively in a horror movie that you probably couldn't in other genres. So I know, if you're approaching movies as like a visual art and a visual storytelling, yeah, horror gives you all kinds of like creative possibilities, which is definitely part of the fun, I think.
Especially with a small budget too.
Yeah,
Once you start getting to action and stuff like even sci-fi, you gotta. I feel like you gotta have a bigger budget.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. And just also as a somewhat fearful person, I'm like, I have a whole I have a whole
Yeah.
wealth of fear to draw on. And fear
And
is universal. Like if it scares me, it probably will scare someone else.
exactly. And what the great thing about horror too, compared to other genres, horror has so many subgenres in it. So like you don't have to like just focus on one. You don't have to focus just on slashers. I mean, you can go do the found footage. You can do more of a little horror thrillers. You can do more of a story if you want to. Or you can do less of a story. So I mean, it gives you a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like a monolithic thing. Yeah, there's things that are like campier and more fun. There's very like serious like psychological horror, and there's room for it all. And I think horror fans are very like open minded too.
I 100% agree. Now, what was the first horror movie that you watched that got you really into horror?
Yeah, what's the first one? I'm trying to think of the thing that really scared me. I think The Shining and The Exorcist definitely deserve their reputation as like the great. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I saw Psycho. I was probably too young for that. I love that.
First
Yes.
slasher.
What did you say?
I said Psycho is definitely the first real big slasher movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Probably nothing too like crazy. So Psycho, Halloween, that kind of thing. I think the scariest thing I've ever seen still is the Blair Witch Project. That last shot in that movie is the scariest thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I say that a lot in my interviews. I
And
say,
it's
the
just
Blair Witch Project scared the shit out of me.
it's just so it just shows like what you don't see is always the scarier thing. And like if you can like create like something in the audience's mind, like
Mhm.
using the shots, using sound, like that is always going to be so much scarier than something you show.
It is like when he was standing in that corner,
I'm like,
and it just fucking ends. It just fucking ends like that, and you see the camera on the ground. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, like the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up,
Yes,
like thinking about it. It is
yes.
so scary.
I watched that movie. I've said this many times. I watched that movie alone while I was in high school. I went to Walmart and bought it on VHS. And back then, we didn't know if the Blair Witch Project was even real or not because,
I remember,
yeah. So I was like, is this some kind of snuff film or something? I didn't know. It was so much crazy behind it if this was real or not, or if these were real people. I remember watching that movie, and and that was the first time I've ever seen a real found footage. And I think Blair Witch was like the first real found footage movie that was put out. And it just seems so real. It seems so cerebral. It's just, and like I agree with some people say, sometimes less is more.
100%. Yeah, often is. Yeah,
I don't know
but yeah,
why that movie gets such a bad reputation. People say they hate the Blair Witch Project, and I'm like, you hate the Blair Witch Project? I
yeah.
can see saying part two. I can see part two, but like the first one,
I don't think I ever
like
saw that.
that's
And
bad.
and Heather O'Donoghue, is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah, she's so. And that scene was parodied like a million times, and she is so good in that movie. She's so good in that scene in particular. I think.
Amazing. I mean, yeah, and that movie was made with nothing, and it made millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think like in terms of like budget to profit, it's still like up there in terms
Yeah,
of like making its budget so many times over.
yeah, because Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity are like two movies, like recent movies that really disturbed me, and it's crazy that they're both like found footage movies, and found footage done right can be terrifying.
Yeah, it's something I've definitely like kicked around, but I haven't quite figured out like an idea yet. But yeah, because I definitely would like to make a feature. And if it's like if I can't get funding, I'll just have to do what others have done and do it for as cheap as I can and as quickly as I can. But I'm hoping I can get funding for my ideas, as every filmmaker does.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I mean, a lot more filmmakers are doing. We have a resurgence of like found footage right now. A lot more filmmakers are doing the found footage because the problem with the funding. So they're able to, get their iPhone and just run around the house and something's there. But when it's done right, it's terrifying. But when it's done wrong, oh, it can be bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough thing tonally to pull off. Oh, and speaking of an iPhone, Cameo was almost entirely shot on an iPhone. Not entirely, but almost entirely.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, how long did it take you to film it? Shoot it.
I think it was filmed over 5 days, but the 5 days were over the course of. It started August 2019 and finished in January 2021. So we started filming in August 2019. We had to stop production. I wound up recasting. Got the production back together. We shot some January 2020. We had 1 day of shooting left for April of 2020, which didn't happen until April of 2021. And still, like, I think people were just starting to get vaccinated and stuff. And like, I totally rewrote the scenes. It's all the stuff like in the void. That was all the last stuff we shot. And the original, it was very different in the script originally, but I'm like, I want to get this movie done. And so I rewrote it to just have like, Sarah's like talking to herself there, essentially. Like she's wearing the cloak. So it was one actor.
Really?
Yeah, it was one actor. Yeah, and then I used the other actress, Lara's. I just used her voice over the shot. And honestly, it came out better than what I think the original plan was. So sometimes limitations are good things.
COVID has made. I mean, listen, COVID was awful bad on it, but it also people became creative during COVID. You know what I mean? Like I speak to so many filmmakers or people who never made films or never wrote or authors. And so many people wrote their first book or made their first movie during COVID. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I pretty much came up with the idea of my YouTube channel during COVID.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, COVID definitely, it seems like, yes, awful, bad for other people, but for some people who were just trapped at home with nothing else to do, it just forced them to be creative and start thinking of new ideas with things that they normally didn't have time to do.
Yeah, exactly. My approach to it generally was like, yeah, this sucks, but I'm going to try to use the time as well as I can. Like,
yes.
Yeah. So make the time. You might as well make the time pass. But yeah, it was really frustrating that like just having this movie so close to done and needing a couple scenes is just. I mean, but the flip side, yeah. Speaking of like filling the time, like I think I definitely experimented in the edit like a ton, and not everything I tried worked, of course, because that's the nature of experimenting. But the things that worked like are in the movie and I'm happy with, especially the sound editing. I had a lot of fun just trying different things there.
That's amazing, man. Now, as you know, with my show, I have a lot of people who are young filmmakers or about to be a filmmaker. What is one piece of advice that you can tell that new filmmaker that's, they're like, wow, I want to get into horror right now. I have a black magic camera or something like that, and I'm ready to go.
Embrace. I think something that I struggle with in my own creative journey is like not embracing your voice. Like really, I definitely encourage people really embrace your voice. Think about like how can I, like there's something about making something like a little bit weirder that like people seem to respond to in a way that like is kind of unexpected. So yeah, you have to be brave and you have to be willing to make yourself vulnerable for sure. And I think that's something that as I evolved, like that I had to get a lot more comfortable with, because Cameo is definitely the weirdest thing I ever made. And it by far had the best reception because hopefully people haven't really seen anything quite like this. Like
different.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, make something different, find your voice, embrace it, don't hide from it, and just it's all about who you surround yourself with too. I mean, I'm just always on the lookout for talented people that are nice and creative and want to do good work. So and so I'd say those two things. Embrace your voice and surround yourself with the best people you can.
But even yourself as a filmmaker, is it hard not to, when it comes to horror, to not go the cookie cutter route and give somebody a mask and have them run around with a machete?
No, I don't think so, because like I just as soon like not do something as do something like cookie cutter, or like I'm doing another horror short, but it's like it's gonna be very different. It's more ambitious, and it's like I want to challenge myself and I want to really grow with every project, and I want to. So for me, the temptation isn't quite there, and I. No disrespect to anything anyone does, for sure. Like making a movie is hard, and do it and put it out there, and it's a good thing.
Because I mean, right now, especially with indie horror, it is so, I'm gonna say easy, but it's easier for people to make projects. I mean, you can make, like you said, with your phone. The technology is great, and even just getting out there is a lot easier than it was before. But you got to stand out because so many people are now doing it. Like there's probably thousands of people wearing a mask slasher movies on Tubi or any of the streaming service. So you got to kind of like stand out a little more now.
No, even smaller, like more local like take like 10% of the submissions. Like at this point, like it's there's so much stuff being made. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. So as you know, this is a horror channel. So I'm gonna ask you 3 random horror questions.
3 random horror questions. Okay.
All right. First one. Okay. You can right now reboot any iconic horror movie that has not been rebooted as of right now. Which one is it going to be?
Oh, it just pops into my head. Maybe it's time for like another Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Ooh.
Like that hasn't been done in a long time, right? I love that like story of The Thing is another great one. Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like that was what popped into my head. Like maybe it's time
That's
for
a great one.
Modern day Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's a great one. That's the first time someone's ever said that one.
All right.
Yes. All right. Shooter part 2. The second question is kind of bounce off that. What Stephen King book would you do, or your version of? I know majority of the books already have a movie out, but if you ever do your version of a Stephen King book, which one would it be?
Like one that already has a film, or one that hasn't been adapted yet?
It could be one that has one or doesn't have one.
Have you read Revival?
I have not.
Revival is fantastic, and it's him trying to do like a Lovecraftian thing, and like the ending is just bleak and absolutely terrifying. Like I really recommend Revival. Revival's fantastic. So that one hasn't been adapted yet. I'm gonna go with Revival. That's a great one.
That's a good one. Now, final question: which iconic horror character do you feel like you relate to the most?
Who do you relate to the most? Oh, that's a good one.
Outside the killing.
What'd you say?
I said outside of killing people. Who do you feel like?
You mean like a villain? Huh? You mean like a villain? Like which villain do I relate to?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's something really sad about Leatherface, right? Like there's something very tragic about his circumstance. He's born into this like fucked up family. Yeah, I've always thought there was something very maybe sympathetic isn't quite the right word, but there was something kind of sad about Leatherface.
Yeah, I agree with you. Leatherface, he's definitely mentally challenged, and he has some kind of mental disorder because he definitely thinks like a child.
Yeah,
and his family. I feel like his family's are the one who leads him to do bad things.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that there's something. Yeah, like he's kind of like a prisoner in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't see that for the first time until fairly recently. Once you get over a certain age, like 4 years ago, is recent. But yeah, it was definitely in the last couple of years that I saw that the first time, and that's such a great one.
But a lot of the horror characters you think about, like especially the iconic ones like Michael Myers, Jason, even Freddy, you're like, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? Okay, I don't get the killing people, but I get why you're the way you are.
Yeah, and that's like always more interesting. Like I'm very interested in like certainly in my own like writing too. Like like why is this person this way? I love the Thomas Harris novels, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, because he just gets in those people's heads.
Yes,
really disturbing.
Because I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, right? But like watching a horror movie and there's just someone just out there killing, and there's no backstory to why they're doing it. It's not as fun.
Yeah, the only movie that I think that really pulls it off is Halloween, where it's just like he's just such a force of nature in that movie.
Yes, yes.
He's not even Michael Myers. He's the shape in the credits. Like he's just
correct. But if you go by the Rob Zombie one, you kind of get why he is the way he is, because I mean he grew up in a family where I wasn't in this situation, but I know there's a lot of kids or people who were kids who grew up in a situation where they were in a single mother household. The single mother had a piece of shit boyfriend who was verbally abusive or even physically abusive. I get that.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Yeah, I like zombies, zombie movies. I know it's not the most like popular opinion, but they are. I
Yeah,
like
because
decent trouble.
I didn't enjoy the movie, but it brings a backstory to Michael Myers, and it kind of makes you make sense why Michael Myers is the way he is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's always that's usually more interesting for sure.
1%. All right, Ryan. So where can everyone find you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Ryan_G_Kelly. That's probably like the best like social media place. I have my website, RyanGKelly.com. People can email me. Yeah, I'd love to. I'm all about connecting with other filmmakers, horror fans. You know, I'm always around. So
Sweet, man. Sweet. Listen, Ryan, it was a blast, man. Listen, I can't wait to see the full feature of Cameo. I love the I love the short. It was fun. And by the way, I don't know when you're gonna release it, but everybody, we get a chance, please check out Cameo. It's a fun 12-minute ride.
yeah, I'll reach out. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to figure out where I can get it like distributed, but it will definitely be like available to the public like soon. That's definitely a top priority. So I'll definitely reach out and let you know when that's done.
Awesome, my friend. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Ram. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.